back on. It's loading, but I'm pretty sure we're back.
Because we're now streaming live on YouTube. Are we actually there though?
I don't know. Go check though, because it still says it's setting up for the YouTube live.
Okay, hold on.
All right, I think we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back in action.
Yep.
I don't see it. I'm trying to get it on my
I
phone.
see it. Okay, hold on. There's some people. Wait for 7 people.
Oh wow.
Hi guys. Okay, so we don't know what just happened. We didn't realize until like 10 minutes after it went out that we were not live anymore. I think what happened was that for some reason it got like flagged or something and they removed it. I don't know why, because we're just talking about a book.
I have no idea. That was so weird. We were talking for like 10 minutes and then I went and looked at the comments and I realized they weren't loading anymore. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I refreshed it and I was like, wait, we're not on anymore. We were talking to like ourselves. Like we're like, oh my gosh.
Like, I have no idea what was going on. I don't know. Yeah, the first upload it got removed. It's not even there anymore, I don't think, because I went to go see where it is and I think they just removed it. So that's what happened. So we're gonna do our best. What?
Demigods and technology always malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's blame Kronos. Oh my god.
We're gonna do our best to like go through everything, like even though we just did it with nobody there. So just bear with us because we're gonna be repeating ourselves, even though you haven't heard us.
Yeah, no, you guys haven't heard us, but like we've heard us. But like we're gonna
talking to each other for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll last 4 minutes. I don't know. Yeah.
Against the terms of YouTube. We're talking about a book, not even a children's book.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why it was against the terms of YouTube. Like, we're allowed to have book talks on YouTube.
No, I don't know. Anyway, okay, let's get back to where we were. We were talking about the beginning of the book now.
I don't know if did they hear when we were talking about Mrs. Dodds, or they didn't hear any of that either?
I don't know.
Okay, well, anyway.
Yeah, okay. So back to the beginning of the book.
Beginning of the book.
We are on a school bus. Percy and Grova are actually being bullied, and we have the whole Mrs. Dodds, the showdown. And one of the things that I really loved about the beginning was seeing how young they actually were, because I'm so used to Percy from like Heroes of Olympus type of Percy, like older, like more like 16. So it was interesting to see him be 12 again and not know anything, and really start from the very beginning of him learning and freaking out about, oh my god, his math teacher is all of a sudden attacking him. Like it was cute.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I thought the comments stopped again. We're good. Yes, Mrs. Dodds was very scary.
Yeah.
I love that part though. I feel like you get right into the action in this book.
I think it's a great way to start it out. And I think what I don't know if it got in, but what we were talking about was how much of an underdog Percy really was, like how bad he was at school and how he didn't really care about school in that way. Like he tried his best, but he was always failing tests. You know, he had dyslexia, he had ADHD, and he had all of these things that he thought were wrong with him, but it turns out that it was actually he's a demigod. And I just love how Rick Riordan uses being like dyslexic. It's like, oh, it's okay, you just can't read English, but you can read Greek, and it's like your ADHD is just your battle instincts because you have to charge into battle. And I love that because important representation, and I think it's so great for kids to read and imagine that type of world, especially kids who have that. I think that's really important for them to read.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love how this book all came about because Rick's son had dyslexia and ADHD. So that's really where the inspiration for Percy Jackson came from. And I love like hearing him. I don't know if you guys have heard him talk in interviews about it, but I love hearing him talk about it because he talks about Percy like it's another son to him. Like that was always like a name in his house where it was like another child. Like Percy like grew up with his son in a way. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's just so cool. And like, I don't know, it's just awesome.
No, exactly. It's so important, I think. And I
Mhm.
think that one, like, I don't know, I think reading it older, you kind of like start to notice these things. Like I was so attached this time around to Percy and his mom and like Sally Jackson. I
Yeah.
forgot how much I loved her. Like this is like a woman who was with this totally awful, terrible guy. You have Smelly Gabe, and he's just this guy who plays poker with a cigar, and he's abusive towards Sally. He's awful towards Percy, like takes over his room. He's basically like the Dursleys. He's one of
Yeah.
them, you know, he's a bad guy. And I really love that he took that and he made it the reason why Sally was with him was to protect Percy. Like her love for Percy was so huge and so enormous, and she even went up against the Minotaur, and like I loved her dedication towards Percy.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, yeah, this time around, I feel like I definitely like felt a lot with Percy's mom. And she gave up a lot too throughout her life. Like if you think about it, like when she was young and she had like the romance with Poseidon, whatever, like he promised her all of these things and then he ended up leaving because he was a god. So she went through that heartbreak. And then she has Percy and then has to protect him. So she basically settles for living this horrible life with Smelly Gabe and like dealing with that, but she did it all for her son. And she gave up a lot. And I like at the end though how like Percy tells her like, you know, you have like it's okay for you to go and like get a degree and like start writing and like do things for yourself.
I know. I thought that was
Like
so
you don't have
sweet.
to protect me anymore like that. And I just yeah, I love that too.
That. And yeah, she was a queen among women, exactly. Yes, I love that Rick based Percy and Annabeth on him and his wife, kind of like that kind of relationship. I love that. It's so cool that
Yeah.
he was able to take like real life instances and stuff. Yeah.
Young Percabeth gave me so many feels in this book. I was freaking out. And I love how like the relationship in this one is so innocent because they're only 12, but they really become friends in that way. And their banter is wonderful too.
Oh my god, the banter
The
is so
banter's it's so good. And like I love it. It's like seaweed brain, it's like wise girl. And it's just like
my favorite banter was when they went through like the tunnel of love, and Annabeth is just like, can you like people are gonna see me? This is so embarrassing. She's like, I
yeah.
go through the tunnel of love with you. And it's really cute.
Yes. Happy agrees too.
Apparently.
Yes, that line, you drool in your sleep. I literally like squealed when I got to that line. I was like, ah, yes.
It's such a classic. And then
Yeah.
like, how Percy's like, so intimidated by her in the beginning. He's just so like captured by her, and I don't know.
Oh, I love
just
how he
thought it
says
was,
he's
and
like
like at the end,
blonde hair curled like a princess.
it's so cute.
And I love how Annabeth's like her line is her first like the first line that she has is like he's the one he has to be.
Mhm.
Like
I know it, like all like the little details, and then like I liked how at the end of the book when she's waiting for him to like wake up when he gets like stung by the scorpion, like we'll get to that stuff, but how she says to him, she's like, you idiot, which I now know what she was overjoyed to see me.
yes.
I just like loved how that went around in that way.
It's such a small part, but I love how when they're like going down into the underworld or whatever, and they're like in the boat, and I love how they hold hands.
Oh my god.
And it's such a sweet moment. And he was like, oh, like any other time I would probably be like embarrassed, but like she wants reassurance that like another person is alive. And it's just like I loved that. That was so sweet.
It was so great. And I like even like her going on like the quest. Like I loved how Annabeth was like sitting there with them, like waiting, and then he's like, well, there's another person that'll want to go with you. She just like whips off the hat. He's like, gee, I wonder who.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really liked the slow building and how like at the end they became friends.
Yeah. Definitely.
Very, very sweet. I didn't realize how much of a crush she had on Luke.
I mean, it makes sense though, because Annabeth had like a horrible childhood. Like she was basically like had to run away from home.
Yeah.
And she was only 7 years old, and Luke was like this hero to her who found her and helped her get to Camp Half-Blood.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Like
Mhm.
I think like her backstory was just was so good. Like I totally like forgotten like how awful her parents were, and yeah, and the whole thing with Thalia, I'd totally forgotten all of those moments. So it was really great to like go back and refresh myself with all of that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like this book was very nostalgic in that way.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I feel like there were so many moments where I was like, oh my gosh, because I keep thinking of things that are gonna happen ahead in the series. So like when they're down in the underworld, I'm like,
Oh.
you mentioned Tartarus. I'm like, we don't want to spoil you guys if this is your first time reading the series, but there was a lot of moments where I was like, oh boy, like they're in for a treat.
Oh
They
yeah.
get older.
Yeah, definitely. Especially towards the end, definitely.
Yes.
I was like triggered.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, it was. She thought Luke was gonna be her new family. It's so sad. Yeah, her story is so sad. I think yeah, I think that they did such a great job. Like telling, like I loved how she slowly opened up to Percy. Like they didn't do like where she just tells him like right away. Like it took her a lot of time to really open up to him. Like it was a very slow progression towards that friendship. And then at the end when he was facing Ares and she put the necklace on him.
I loved that.
It was just so adorable.
I forgot like what Ares looked like in this until like they described him. Like when he came in on like the motorcycle with like the leather jacket.
God, I know.
It's like
Heard him like the Terminator coming in, like you know,
yeah.
like the glasses, like Arnold, like.
I'm so curious on like who they're gonna cast for the TV show to be the gods, like Poseidon, Zeus,
you know,
and
who
Ares, and then obviously Dionysus too. I think those are the gods that we basically see.
who I was thinking would be such a good Hades, but he won't do it. But I just picture him. I think he would be really good at it. Adam Driver. Like now that you see it, you can't unsee it. But
I don't think he would do that.
He would do it, but I don't know. I thought it was funny. Like when I was reading it, and he's like talking about like this like broody guy with this long black hair. I'm just thinking like Kylo Ren.
I mean, that would definitely be. I feel like that would be a great cast, but he's not going to do that.
He won't do it, but it would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to have actually be like the well-known actors. I think that would be that would be fun, I think. But I don't know if they're gonna.
I'm really excited for news to start coming out about the TV show. Like I'm really excited to see the cast. Mm-hmm. And so that way we know like, okay, this is our Percy, this is our Annabeth, and we like know like more about.
Yeah. Well,
right now we just know it's coming. We don't know anything about it. I think Jacqueline froze. Jacqueline? All right. Anyway, who do you guys want casted as Percy, Annabeth? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you froze.
I'm here.
Everybody is excited. They think that Adam Driver will be good. Yeah, I really want okay, Jacqueline's gone again.
Work, I think, is a TV show where it's gonna be good.
I have no idea what you just said because you froze and then you just came back.
All I said was I think there's a lot of really good episode moments here, like Medusa, the Tunnel of Love, even like that scene when they're like on the mattresses and they're being like stretched out, the Lotus Casino.
I forgot about that when they're there and it's like crusty and he puts them on the mattresses and Percy ends up tricking him. Yeah, I forgot about that scene. That was cool. I love though. I think like one of my favorites that like I'm excited to see in the show is Medusa. Like that I love. And then obviously the Tunnel of Love. That'll be a really cool scene as well. Like there's a lot of like really great action moments in this book.
So many great action moments, even like the Tunnel of Love scene when they're like on like this boat and like all like the robot spiders come out and start attacking and then that's like,
I'm really curious about the effects because we know like Percy in this book he does it I mean future books he's gonna do that a lot more, but when he controls the water he did that in like the end, and then with like in the Tunnel of Love he also makes like the pipes burst and like the water come. So like that's gonna be really cool to see how they're gonna do that.
Yeah, especially like the scene when they're on they're in like St. Louis and then he like jumps like off the building and he goes like into the river and the river's like all dirty and he talks to like he hears like his mom who
when he's underwater. They're gonna have to do underwater scenes too because Percy can breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know it's also very interesting that I don't know how they're gonna do. Percy doesn't get wet. Like when he's in the water, he's dry.
Well, they're probably just gonna show him underwater, and then they'll probably.
And then when he comes out, he's not gonna be wet anymore.
Yeah, they just
like
probably
that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That's like I just hope they throw that in there. Like
yeah, it's important.
Yeah. CGI better be good. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, the Medusa scene, I think it'll be really fun. I forgot how fun that scene is when they go in, they're just lured by food because they're kids and they're hungry. I'm like, I would go for burgers too if I was hungry, starving.
Definitely.
And they go in and there's this Auntie M and like this grandmother figure.
She reminded me of like, what is that? The Hansel and Gretel, the witch?
Yeah.
She reminded me of that.
I think that's it. That has to be what he was thinking when he did something like that with Medusa.
Yeah, literally she's like luring the children to their death.
Yeah, and all like the statues and Grover's just like that looks like Uncle Ferdinand.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Grover's uncle was in there.
Yeah.
I feel like we overlooked that, but like Grover like saw his uncle as a statue. Like he died because Grover has like this dream of finding Pan and all of that. And like it's known where like they don't come back. Like those satyrs, when they go and they try to find Pan, they just disappear. So Grover's like whole family's gone.
Yeah.
Which I forgot in this one with him. He ends up going off at the end to find Pan already. I thought that happened later.
I thought so too. I was very confused.
I was kind of like, oh.
I know.
He's not in the next one that much. I don't remember.
I know I read Sea of Monsters very quickly the last time. So this time I don't remember that book at all. The only part I remember is like the Circe Island, which I don't want to like ruin for anybody.
Yes.
But that's the only scene I really remember in that. So I'm very excited to read it and like go through that one because I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, definitely. Another part that I loved was when they're in the casino. They're like the Lotus Casino
in Vegas, yeah.
And I think that'll be really cool to see visually too, because they're going through this casino, like they're lured in, like because it's a free hotel room, arcade games, food. They go in there, and I think it's gonna be really cool for them to see the other kids in there because they're from different times. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be cool to see, like they could do that really cool, where like you see the other kids from like different time periods walking around.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And
Especially
they're in there for 5 days. Like,
like the Elvis kid that Percy's like playing next to, and he's like, it's
mhm.
1977.
Uh-huh, and Percy's, like, struggling with, like, "I could just stay in here."
That's the thing about Percy is he actually is pretty clever, and I think that that gets kind of overlooked a lot of the time, but he is really smart. Like he does figure things out. Like we always talk about how Annabeth is so smart and she's like the genius of the group, but Percy holds his own. He figured out that they were in that casino and he figured out the way to trick Ares, and with Krusty, he figured a
Oh,
way out
yeah,
of.
definitely. I was thinking that too because I feel like yeah, like, you always think Annabeth is the one who, like, uses her head more so and, like, has that strategy where, like, she'll, like, trick people into doing things. I always think of, like, with, like, that part with, like, the spider, do you remember that? In, like,
Oh,
the later that's, like, later on in, like, Here's
yeah.
Olympus, but,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
that
yeah.
was, like, a great part with her.
Yeah.
So Annabeth like is always known to like do that, but Percy is definitely he's definitely clever. Like he got them out of a lot of situations in this book.
Yeah. Oh, back to the beginning. I really love the claiming scene when Poseidon claims him as his son and we find
Mhm.
out that he is of the sea, and how the I just think that'd be such a funny scene to see on screen. Like the toilets exploding
Oh my
and
gosh, yes. I'm curious on how Clarice is gonna be in the show. If she's gonna be as like nasty as she is in the books.
like the capture the flag, like everything like leading into that. I think
Oh,
it
capture the flag. That's gonna be a really, really cool scene.
yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited about those for sure.
Mhm.
And yeah, Clarice, I wonder how they're gonna cast her because she's a bitch in the book. Like she is nasty.
Mhm.
Um
Well, I feel like it's like Percy deals with bullies. Like
mm,
his whole life he's been dealing with bullies, Percy. So he has like you have in the beginning of this book Nancy Bobofit and he's dealing with her only to go to Camp Half-Blood and have to deal with Clarice.
yeah.
So I
I-
feel like Percy's always like having to deal with that.
yeah. But I think you see how he kind of rises above it. Arachne's my trauma and Mark of Athena. I think that's everybody's trauma.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Some stories like when they're talking about the Parthenon, like there are so many moments that I was just like, oh my god, like you had to wonder like if Rick Riordan knew from the beginning where he was gonna go.
I hope the capture the flag takes up a lot of an episode. I definitely think that that'll take up a lot of the episode, especially because that episode is probably going to end with Percy finding out that he's um the son of Poseidon.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be great.
That is
And
great. I also really like Grover. It's hilarious how he chews on soda cans. Yes, I'm excited for them to cast Grover as well. I love how Grover's always looking out for Percy, even in like the beginning of the book, and he's just such a good friend. And I love how you see their friendship grow in this book.
yeah,
I feel like
he's so
it was really touching when they were in the underworld and Grover and Annabeth they're kind of like going back and forth where they're like no like like it's okay like you take the pearls like save your mom I'll stay here. And like Grover was telling him how like oh it's okay cuz I don't have a soul like they were both like trying to save like do that for Percy so like that was really like beautiful.
no, it was. Yeah, I didn't remember that either. The fact that Luke is 19 in the first book. I always thought he was like 16 or something. I didn't remember he was
I
19 either.
thought that was weird too. I was like wow, why is Luke's like
I didn't realize he was so
okay
old.
at Camp Half-Blood when they're young when they're older?
He's a counselor there.
Right, right.
So I guess it kind of would make sense that he's older,
Because
but
when you're older, you become like a counselor and you kind of like look out for the younger kids. Yeah.
I
Um,
guess.
Luke is a very angry character, but I think that he's really interesting because of what he's gone through and like his viewpoints on the gods, like in a twisted way, like you kind of can see where he's coming from a little bit because the gods are not good in like the series.
These are essentially kids who have been abandoned by their parents
And
in
I
a way.
feel like Luke was just like his mind, like he just got like seduced by the dark side in a way. Like when the dreams were coming to him, he didn't have that ability like Percy did to like ignore it.
Yes, exactly.
So in a way, like he was just it just happened to him, and I feel almost bad for him in a way, but he's like obviously an antagonist, but yeah, I definitely can like see where he's coming from, and I feel like you can sympathize a little bit with him.
But I think that's what makes a good villain. That's what makes it.
Exactly. That's why like I like reading this again, I was like, ooh.
Ooh, this is actually good.
I was like, ooh, like his backstory. Like I remember this, but like this is really good.
Yeah, it is. And I'm really excited for that to continue developing as the series goes on.
Mhm.
Obviously, you guys know we have obviously not seen the last of Luke.
Well, yeah, that was like a cliffhanger with him leaving Percy with like the scorpion and all of that, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's like really a
Ooh,
big when he like comes back. That's like really big when he faces Percy and Annabeth.
yeah, you notice Percy having similar thoughts even in this book, which makes them amazing literary foils. Oh, for sure. Like
Mhm.
Percy goes through it too. Like you see that even when he goes to meet Poseidon, how he's kind of nervous and how he doesn't know what to think, and then how how Poseidon says like, like, oh, I'm sorry you were born, and he's just like, my dad's sorry I was born. Like it's such a twisted mentality because like you have to remember like these are gods, they're immortals, and they have lived thousands and thousands of years. So to say that it affects a 12-year-old, but to a god, they're not thinking much of it in a way.
Exactly, yeah. But to a 12, like to Percy, that's his father. Father
Exactly.
that he never knew, and then to have him be treated like that, like it's just not right.
Yeah, and I think in the later books we're gonna it'll be more, we're gonna see that Percy kind of delve into that like darkness almost,
Oh
because
yeah, definitely.
that's why Luke is such a tragic character, because his father is just not around. Like, these weren't these are it's a different type of world that they're living in, but essentially these are abandoned children
And I
almost.
feel like Luke, he has this like darkness in him as well from what he went through with Thalia and like how she ended up dying and all of that. And I feel like he holds that guilt for that, and that also had been weighing on him, which is why I feel like like he was so like manipulated in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very manipulated. I think he just fell into Kronos because it was somebody that was there and he was giving him the outlet and he was letting him be this great hero mind. And yeah, I'm very excited to watch his story arc go down that path. And
Yes, me too.
yes. You guys know, if you're familiar with our videos, how much we love sub antagonists and like backstories like
I
that.
feel like when antagonists have a great story and you can like see what they're doing and you know it's bad, but you could understand why they're doing what they're doing, like that makes the best villains. And like if you see a villain and you don't understand, like they're not like there's no like complex like complexity to them, and like there's no like bigger meaning to what they're doing, like it's not as good of a story. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually very true. The gods probably don't want to get close to their kids knowing that eventually they'll die. I guess thinking of it from that perspective, that's very interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's I think when you bring in immortality, it brings like a larger aspect to things. I don't know, to think about. It's just very interesting. Percy dreaming about Thalia even though he's never met her was an amazing scene, and I freaked out when I was reading that.
I didn't remember that like Percy like dreamt about that.
Yeah, and like Thalia was kind of had like a little cameo. And that was really cool. I was like, whoa, I forgot how intense Percy's dreams are. And that is terrifying. Like to put in, like he's so young and he's having these nightmares of this voice pulling him into this darkness. And in a way, Kronos was trying to get to Percy the way that he got to Luke.
Yeah, definitely.
He's very powerful and he's one of like the big three. And um yeah, I thought his dreams were so intense.
Kronos is Snoke and Luke is Ben Solo. I'm emotional.
Oh my god,
See the similarities.
stop.
Entered this live late. Will it be available afterward? Yeah, so when the live is done, it'll go on YouTube and you can watch it from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, I thought his dreams were
I never liked his dreams as a kid. Yeah. Reading it when you're a kid, you're like, oh, this is so scary.
You know what god I loved Mr. D. Like Dionysus is so funny to me. He's just like this god who
now reading this as being older.
What?
I feel like he's more funny now to me than he was when I first read this.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that funny when I read this like a couple years ago, but reading it now, like I just think he's hilarious.
I love it. I love the letter too that he sends to Percy, and he calls him Peter.
Yeah, the Peter Johnson. But even like in the beginning, how he says,
like, what was that? Hold on, I had taken a picture of it because that was one of the things I put on Twitter. Yeah, dear Peter Johnson, if you intend to stay at Camp Half-Blood year-round, you must inform the big house by noon today. If you do not announce your intentions, we will assume you have vacated your cabin or died a horrible death. Cleaning harpies will begin work at sundown. They will be authorized to eat any unregistered campers. All personal articles left behind will be incinerated in a lava pit. Have a nice day. Like, he's just so funny.
No, and even like when he first is like comes and he introduces Percy to like the group, he's like, Chiron pounded his hoof again for our attention. Mr. D got up with a huge sigh. Yes, I suppose I better say hello to all you brats. Well, hello. Our activities director Chiron says the next capture the flag is Friday. Cabin 5 presently holds the laurels. Personally, I couldn't care less, but congratulations. Also, I should tell you that we have a new camper today, Peter Johnson. I just think he's so
funny.
I just think he's so funny. Like even I don't know, because he's like this god who ended up being like the director, and he's like, I don't want to be in charge of this. Like he views
that was his punishment. He had to go and like stay at Camp Half-Blood, and he hates it, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, this book is so funny. I loved like how hilarious Percy's inner dialogue is, and I hope that we have some way of translating that humor to film, because his inner dialogue, like being in Percy's point of view, is so funny.
I was thinking that too, because like how are they gonna do that in the TV show where we can like get that, because that's gonna be a little bit difficult, I feel like. I don't know. I love Chiron as a mentor in this book. Yeah, definitely. I love how he was like watching out for Percy even in the beginning of the book. Like when Percy was at Yancey Academy, before he even gets to Camp Half-Blood, he was looking out for him and making sure like he was prepared there. Like even before he went to Camp Half-Blood, he had been watching him for a while.
Yeah, I think he's a great like parental figure for all of the kids at Camp Half-Blood. He's great.
Can we talk about that scene with the Oracle? That was surreal. Yeah, seeing the Oracle and getting like the little prophecy for this book of like what's gonna happen when he went on his quest. Like, I feel like all I kept thinking of was the future prophecies.
I'm gonna die when we get to the last Olympian.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm excited to see even the Oracle of Delphi in like the TV show, because like it looks so funny. It has like the tie-dye shirt and like
yeah, I feel like, you know, like when I was thinking that they can kind of do some like similarities to you know, like the Haunted Mansion, like when they're in like not Tartarus, when they're in the underworld and they're looking around at the way like they did it. I just like feel like they could do like some humor with like Haunted Mansion, like, you know, like the ghost in Haunted Mansion. I feel like that would be funny, like something like that, maybe to bring some like humor. And
I think they definitely can. Yeah, the way that, especially like, it's gonna be interesting the way that they like show it in the TV show, because there's so many different like parts of the underworld. Like there's like where like what Elysium, where like the heroes go and all of that, and there's like not that many people, and then it's like the fields where it's like most of the people, because it's like if you just lived like an ordinary life. And then, like, even when they first get there and they're in like the waiting room and all of the spirits are like going crazy and all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just think that the way that they could do it, there's so much detail. Like I forgot like how interesting Rick's worlds are that he creates. Like he really like delves in. He paints such a clear, vivid picture of what Camp Half Blood looks like. Like even like Camp Half Blood. Like I'm so curious how they're gonna have them how they're gonna use like nectar and ambrosia. Like how are they gonna what is that gonna look like on like
Yeah,
on
that's
screen?
true. And I feel they're gonna have to describe that, like, because that like it's used obviously, like nectar is used when like gods are hurt and all of that, but also like with the food and everything at camp because they do like the offerings
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
gods, they do that. And then I feel like there's so many different things that make Camp Half Blood Camp Half Blood. Like the strawberry fields is really like a big part of it. Like there's just so many things that like make it what it is. And I hope that they end up like putting that in the show.
But like how are they gonna show that like the tray? Like is it just gonna be like a tray and it's like, oh hey, that's Thalia? Like I'm so curious how they're gonna I don't wanna spoil anything about Thalia or whatever, but
I mean, yeah.
curious how they're gonna show that.
But
And
we're gonna see that we have to see like the tree though, because that's like in the beginning of the book, like when they're getting when like he like runs like into Camp Half Blood, it was like the Minotaur, like you see like the tree.
yeah, and the Minotaur, I loved that scene in the beginning when Percy, when they're in the car and the Minotaur is like chasing them. I think that's so cool. And like you have to think Percy is like going up against this thing and he has no idea about anything. This is before he even gets to Camp Half Blood. Like he doesn't know that he is like he's getting like a crash course right now and he still defeats this big villain. I
Mhm.
thought that was such a great Percy moment.
Definitely. On Intercosmos production, can you please react to something? I link you. Definitely send it, email it to us. That's the easiest way to send us stuff for us to look at and react to. But thank you so much. Big bathtub. I love that line when he was like when they're about to go down to the underworld and he's like, "How did you die?" He drowned in the bathtub. All of you? He's like, it was like big bathtub.
Yeah.
He's so funny. And yeah, Camp Half Blood is definitely very big. There's a lot of different parts of it. And you have to think they have all of the different like seeing that in the show too. I feel like we keep going back to the show, but like I'm like so excited for it. Is like all the different cabins and like how different they're all gonna look depending on which god it's for.
I'm going to cry, like actually seeing what it's gonna look like.
I know.
I know Rick Riordan is like so he seems like he's heavily involved. So I feel like and he really paints like oh such a clear picture of what it looks like to him that if we could translate that to a movie like onto like a TV show, it's gonna be amazing. And like even like seeing the shirts, like all like the campers like walking around with like the Camp Half Blood shirts, like such a small detail like that. I was so mad that that wasn't in the movie. Like why what it was so hard about all of us wearing Camp Half Blood t-shirts in the movie. Like, why?
I really hope that small. I mean, it's a big detail. That's like a really big thing to have a Camp Half Blood shirt. I really hope that that's in there as well. Even like the beaded necklace that they all wear, like when you get like a bead, like that like after like the year, like the summer's over. So yeah, there's little things like that that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Um yeah, I think that they could really make it good and I'm looking forward to also seeing the three-headed dog like Cerberus, the three-headed dog that guards the underworld. I love that scene when Annabeth takes control and she like tells the dog to fetch the ball. Like they have like the red rubber ball and she starts playing with the dog. And I thought that was really sweet. And I felt bad for the dog when
I
she
felt that too because she's like, "Oh, I'll come back for you," and then the dog was like crying because he like made a friend.
I don't remember.
Camp Half Blood shirts being sold at Disney stores.
Oh, you know
Yeah,
that.
right. I know.
You know that they will be.
Oh my gosh, definitely. I'm gonna cry at the trailer. Yeah, I'm excited to get a trailer eventually too.
I'm so excited to get a trailer. Um, I'm trying to think of what haven't we talked about? Did we talk about Oh, I really liked the scene when they I forgot like all about it. I forgot how like action packed this book was. Like I felt like every single chapter there was like a monster that we were fighting or there was
Mhm. Well,
something.
because they attract like Percy especially, but having Percy and Annabeth together traveling, it's like they were getting attacked left and right because they're attracting all these monsters. So yeah,
Yeah,
like every like chapter, it was like, oh, look at what we're going through now.
no, and like there was like the one with like the pink poodle that turned into like the monster, and when he ended up like jumping off of that thing and into the water, I thought that action scene was,
Oh yeah, when he was like separated from Annabeth and Grover, right?
yeah,
And he ended up like jumping off and like his dad saved him and he was like in the water.
yeah. I Yeah, I loved that scene. I thought that was really, really cool. I loved obviously we talked about like the Lotus Casino, how fun that is, and how we have like this place where these kids could be kids and just be stuck there and frozen in time.
Mhm.
I think that'll be great on a show. Um
I
yeah,
love how Percy talks to wait, what?
the Aries fight, I think would be amazing. And like I don't know like how they're gonna do like the whole plot twist of with the lightning bolt and how it ended up being that like Ares was actually the one that stole the lightning bolt because of like the Luke and like that whole story. Like I'm curious if they're gonna make it obvious about
I
Luke.
hope they don't make it obvious that it's Luke.
Yeah.
I don't think they will because what will be the point of that?
Yeah. Also, how are we gonna? I'm. This is one of the things I'm nervous about is how we're gonna have them have a lightning bolt. Like they have to make it where it's not like corny looking.
I don't think it will be. I think that it has to be it definitely has to look like otherworldly. Like it has to be big and all of that and like very powerful looking.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But I love how Percy talks to everybody. He's so confident and arrogant in a good way. He is so funny to read about. Percy has a very great personality and whoever they like end up casting for him, I just hope that he's able to portray that and like put his own spin on it obviously, but still keep what makes Percy Percy. 'Cause
Absolutely.
Percy is very sassy and he's funny and yeah,
Yeah. He
he's a
is.
great character.
I love Percy. I really do. I and like it was so nice like reading this again and being in his head and just his dialogue is so funny. And like I love the scene when he was like falling off that I think it was the building that he was falling off of and he was said something like I wish I could tell you that I was thinking like life alternating changes as I was falling but all I was thinking was ah
Yes.
like just like such like so small like moments like that I just think are so great to capture and yeah I think it could be really hilarious.
Definitely.
Yeah, how are we gonna show the mist? That's what okay, so one of the things that I thought was great about the ending of this book was the fight with Ares, how cool it was, and then like the real cops show up. And we have this like subplot backstory of Smelly Gabe going on like all these talk shows talking about how his son is missing and how he needs him back and all that stuff, like for like
Well,
attention.
Percy was like a fugitive. That's like how like the humans were portraying him to be because that's what they saw because that's like what the mist does. It like makes
Yeah,
you like
it
sense
changes.
it. Like you see what like you want to see basically. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how like we're gonna see what's really happening and then we're gonna see what the humans think is happening. And they have to like go back and forth, I guess, in that way to show us.
Well, I liked how in the Aries scene the cops still showed up and how like
Yeah.
what they saw and then like hearing all that. And I love that scene when Percy like goes on and like they mentioned that like him and Annabeth and Grover were getting like hounded by like all like these press people. And he says, oh, they're gonna offer reward because you know, my stepfather was missing me so much that anybody who Anybody who calls his store gets a free appliance.
Yeah, that was really funny. It was very satisfying at the end though when like Percy ends up giving his mom like the Medusa head and was basically like, get rid of Gabe.
Yeah, I thought that was great. She sold him off and got her money and was able to buy her, like, get her tuition, and now she's going to school, and like I thought that was such a satisfying ending.
What she deserved.
Absolutely. And I like that Percy left that up to her, and how Poseidon tells him, he's like, you know, you have a choice, like whatever you want to do, like you could be like this hero figure in that way and use Medusa's head. And I like that he left it up to Sally to actually really get her vengeance on him.
Yeah.
I thought that was so satisfying. Can we talk about how sassy Percy is to send Medusa's head to Mount Olympus, and with best wishes, Percy Jackson.
That was so great.
Just like the little details like that. Percy is just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the show will be exactly like the book, or I think that they'll definitely keep in the big things. Obviously they're gonna add their own things because I feel like they'll add more to it, especially for people who have read the series and they know what's gonna happen. That way there's more to it and you're not like not like bored, but like you don't know what's gonna happen every episode. They'll probably like put their own little like twists and stuff in there, I think. But I don't think it'll be a bad thing. I think that they'll definitely keep in like the really big things.
I would like to, one thing that I would like them to add is maybe more time at Camp Half-Blood and make that, and like stretch that out a little bit. I think that would be fun. Cause like
yeah, I think they will too.
Yeah, because like in the book, I feel like we aren't really at Camp Half-Blood that much in a way.
I feel like we'll also see more of the other characters in Camp Half-Blood. Like I feel like we'll see more with Clarisse, we'll see more with like other characters that are in the other cabins and have more conflict within like with other characters.
Well, we have more characters that we're gonna meet. Like I think we have like Will and Connor, if I remember, and like Beggendorf and Selena.
Yeah,
like,
but I wonder if we're gonna see them in like the
earlier
first season and like have it earlier where we would like develop them sooner and like have it where like we have more of like a cast, because in this one it's really just Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. Yeah. And like you see like Clarisse obviously when they're there at like Camp Half-Blood, but it's not like a whole lot of characters in Camp Half-Blood.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know.
They obviously like mention the other characters like when he's like briefly in like the other cabin, but I feel like I don't know, we'll probably get to know them more maybe.
Yeah, and I know like Selena and Beggendorf, like they have like that relationship in the later books, so maybe we'll get to actually like see that. Like I don't know, like you gotta wonder. And I'm sure like Annabeth, like maybe we'll get to see more stuff with like her family. Like maybe they'll delve like instead of like her just like telling Percy that, like maybe we'll get like flashbacks or something. Like that would be cool.
Or I hope we get flashbacks when we find out the story of like Annabeth and like what happened when she was 7. I hope we get to see like a little bit of that and not just like her telling him. I think that hopefully like we'll get to like see some flashbacks of that.
I really liked that scene when they were on they were on like the zebras. It was like the zebra that they let loose, like the animals.
Oh yes.
Like on like the car that had all the zoo animals, and they let the zebra and the lion, and they like saved them all, like all the animals. I thought that was really great. And we see that Percy has an ability to communicate with these animals, which I thought was really fun.
Well, he can communicate with horses.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to like to know what the zebra was saying.
Yeah. So I think that yes, Travis and Connor, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love them.
Yes, I'm very excited. The Still brothers, that's what I was thinking of. Nico. It's another great character that will be coming
in later. Yeah,
he doesn't come in till book 3, I think, so we won't be seeing him right now. But I'm very excited to get like reread all these things. So, like I forget so many backstories and all of these things that are so important. I want to see Percy exploding the bathrooms. Me too.
Same.
I don't know if they'll show that. That would be interesting. Percy's mom and Percy's dad meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll get that. I mean,
That'd be an interesting kind of.
maybe. Who knows? We might get a scene in there of Sally telling Percy exactly like how they met and like what happened with that, because they're probably going to add more to the characters and their backstories, I would think, because it's a TV show. Like, you can do that.
Yeah.
Depends on how many episodes we get, but I would think that they could definitely add more.
I am wondering how awful they're gonna make Smelly Gabe on the TV show, because I think that he's so bad in the books. I'm curious if Disney's gonna go like the abusive route that he is in the books. Like, I think that's a detail that they're probably gonna leave out.
No, I think that they could definitely hint at it. I don't think
They might hint at it.
they don't show like in the books like him hitting her. It's just kind of like Percy realizes that that's been going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Have we talked about everything in the book? Like, let me go through my book.
I think so. Do you guys have anything to add that you thought like a part or anything that like stands out to you, or like your favorite part, your least favorite part? What you think is gonna happen? What do you guys think is gonna happen if you haven't read the series with Luke?
I'm curious. Yeah, I want to see what Zeus looks like too. I think that could be really cool. Yeah, we might see, that would be such a little fun detail. We might get to see Nico and Bianca in the Lotus Casino when they visit, like, as a bit of a cameo. I think that would be fun. Like, if
that would be really fun. I really hope that they throw that in there.
Yeah, like, I think that could be really cool.
That would be awesome.
The ending scene with Luke and Percy is super intense, and I cannot wait to see that on screen. Yes. Yeah.
They can make that really cool, because that's like the big reveal is like it was Luke. Because like they don't give like many hints to it in the book.
Yeah.
Going back, like I really realized that the only hints that they really give is like obviously the shoes when they're down in the underworld and the shoes start to malfunction, like that. And when they call Luke, he was like a little bit suspicious, but not enough where like if you're reading that for the first time, you would realize that it was Luke.
See, I remember I thought that they were gonna figure it out when the shoes start dragging Grover, and Grover is like trapped with these shoes. I thought
I thought that they found out about Luke betraying them like earlier on. I forgot that it's literally at the very end of the book.
Yeah, it was literally the very end of like the big reveal. But you know, Rick Riordan, I'm very excited to continue on and read his cliffhangers.
Oh my gosh. More flashbacks to those cliffhangers.
I'm excited about that. But yeah, I can't, the underworld scene was just so intense with Hades, and like, how are they going to show the scene when they have like the pearls and they like smash the pearls and ends up like floating up, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, and they're floating up and then they end up like underwater.
Yes. Yeah, because they were in the underworld. Yeah, so it ended up being able that they
I'm very curious about that, because that's such a like I feel like Percy underwater is something that's going to be shown so much throughout the the show, especially in the other seasons. Like that's a really big part of it, so that's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see Blackjack too. I can't wait to see that. I think that's going to be great. I'm so
Yeah, definitely.
See, that'd be cool too, at the part where Luke explains how he stole the lightning bolt with flashbacks, like something like that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yes. Perciveth unfolding on the screen in the way they deserve is going to be wonderful.
Yeah, I also love like the amount of like Greek mythology information that you get in this, like, and how much you actually learn. I think is just so cool. Like all like the little like stories, even like the Athena and Poseidon rivalry and how like they worked once during like
Yeah.
create the
I
chat.
feel like I forgot about that, and that's so interesting with Percy and Annabeth like starting out like they're French, like they're like allies at first, like they're working together, but it's kind of like they're not really like Annabeth is like, oh, I don't know if like we should because like my dad and my mom and your dad like they were like rivalries and all of that.
Yeah. Like there was a part of her that was a little disappointed that he ended up being a son of Poseidon because she's like, oh, we can't be friends then.
Yeah.
But I think that's so much fun.
Mhm.
Like I love that like added depth that it brought.
Mhm.
Yes, I wonder what the set of will be like. That'll be really amazing to see. Like, cause
Ooh,
they
yeah,
make
that
it seem
too.
like it's so high up like in the sky and there's like this stairway. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like visually the show is going to be
It's gonna take a long time to make. It's gonna take a
yeah,
while.
definitely.
Oh, another thing that I love is the way that they like communicate because like they can't have like technology, right? Like, you know,
Oh,
technology
with like the iris message.
messaging, how they communicate.
Uh-huh. And they're like making the rainbow and all of that to like call Camp Half Blood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that was really cool. That's really cool
I mean,
too.
like I always thought like the Harry Potter movies, like those are always like one of like the greatest like book to movie adaptations. But when you read the Harry Potter books, you realize how much they left out. So you gotta wonder like what that would have been like as a TV show as well. So yeah, that's interesting to think about. Like I feel like this, even in like the Percy Jackson movie, how much they left out, but also how much they can keep in because we're getting a show and we have so much time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Olympus is very pretty. I used to pretend I love iris messaging. I used to pretend to do it with my DM. Oh, you're getting books 2 to 5 tomorrow. That's exciting. Just in time.
Just in time for book 2. So book 2, how are we're gonna figure out how to split this up. Let's figure it out with you guys since you guys are reading it with us. So this book we're not gonna take as long to read because it's shorter. This book was 375 pages, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 375. And this book is
275. So it's 100 pages less.
okay.
Or like hold on. It's like 279. So it's
Okay.
around 100 pages less.
How many chapters do we have? This book has
Yeah, how many are there?
20.
I mean, we could do it in if we wanted to do it like.
You guys want to do 5s again? Do 5, 10, 15, 20?
And then do 40s.
But like, I don't know. Do you guys want to finish this one a little quick?
So reading the first 5 chapters, that's page 66. And then the next 5 would be 134.
We can also try to do more like because we're missing because you know the other one was 22. This one is 20. We could do 6 chapters a night.
Yeah, depends on what you guys want. Either 5 or 6 chapters a night.
Yeah.
We'll probably look more at it and then we'll figure it out and let you guys know on Twitter too. Two to 3 days, I think. So should we try 3 days and do 6 chapters? Would that be 3 days?
Oh yeah, I noticed that little detail. The guard in the Empire State Building was reading Harry Potter. Yeah, I thought that was funny because he was reading like this fantasy book. I thought that was cute. Um
5, 6, 5 was good. 5 or 6 is good. I'm good with 6.
What was your favorite book out of 5? I loved Sea of Monsters actually, because this one has a lot of Percy and Annabeth, if I remember correctly. So I'm so excited to read that. Yeah, and then I really loved book 5. I think book The Last Olympian's my favorite, and I love The Battle of the Labyrinth, those two. And then this one, I think this is like my top 3, so I'm really excited to reread this one because this one
everybody's pretty good with 3 days. So I think 3 days would end up being like 6 chapters, right? And then there would be like 2 left over.
All right, let's do so let's think. Tomorrow is Wednesday. So like if we might
tomorrow the 100's on though too, remember that.
No, but I'm trying to think like if we should like be like, okay, we finished by the book by Friday or Saturday.
I would think Saturday.
We'll go live Saturday.
Yeah, I would think Saturday. Either like finish Saturday, go live Sunday. One of those two, I would think.
Go live Sunday. That's kind of long. 2, 4, 5. That's long.
Actually, yeah, we can go live Saturday then.
I would think like, well, how much are we gonna do? Like, let's figure this out. If we read 6 chapters a night, then we'll be finished. And so like tomorrow we'll read the first 6, then we'll read 7.
That'll be 3 days, but then there's 2 extra chapters, so it would be 4 days. We do 6.
So it'll be kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, then yeah, let's do that. Let's do 6 chapters a night.
Starting tonight? Starting like Tuesday or starting Wednesday?
Starting tomorrow.
Okay.
Starting tomorrow, let's all read up to page 85. That's totally doable.
Okay, so 6 chapters a night, and then, yeah.
Yeah, because this is a smaller book, so
the chapters are shorter if you have to think, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the chapters are not as long, I don't think, or they kind of are, but they go by so fast.
So we'll do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, finish the book Saturday, and then we'll go live Saturday night.
Yeah, that works.
Around probably the same time.
Yeah, how does that work for you guys?
We'll say 8 we can go live so it's easier to remember.
I have the book on my phone. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they're very fast. All right, so you guys make sure that you are on Twitter. I'm going to do better live tweeting. I was like a fail at like the last 2 days live tweeting. I'm going to live tweet better this time. That's my goal. I'm going to try again.
All right, so we have our plan for Sea of Monsters.
Tomorrow we start 1 to 6, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna write it down in my notes again, so we'll put up like the real like schedule on there, so that way you guys could see like the dates and stuff.
Yeah, on our Twitter. So remember to use the hashtag PJO feels read along, and yeah, we're really excited to start this one with you guys.
Yes, I am very excited to read Sea of Monsters because I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, I'm really excited too because I remember this one was definitely like one of my favorites.
I remember I loved this one because I read it so fast. Yes. So yeah, this was really fun though. This was like our first time doing like.
This is our first time doing this, so we hope that you guys enjoyed it because we definitely did, and we're excited to read Sea of Monsters and then do this again with you guys.
Yes. Yeah, be sure to follow along and live tweet on Twitter. I love seeing you guys read it. I think that makes it so much fun. Like I think reading it all together just makes it like a different experience in a way.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
I don't know. It feels like we have like friends and stuff to talk about these books.
It's like a little book club.
It is. It is. It's like a book club, and we've always talked about wanting to do that on our channel. So it's really fun that we're doing this, and we'll obviously do the rest of the series. And I do want to reread Heroes of Olympus as well. So I'm sure we'll do that, and then we'll go from there. Maybe we'll do Harry Potter after or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But yeah, this was so much fun. Yeah, so we'll see you guys on Saturday.
Saturday, and obviously on Twitter. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye. Guys.